Yeah. Every Tuesday we're setting the tone. Latest trends, let it be known. Voices rising, stories unfold. Thought-provoking, fresh and bold. From the mic to the movement we bring. Conversations that matter, hear wisdom sing. Insight, purpose, food for the soul. This is the place where ideas grow. It's Trending Tuesday. Tune in, stay ready. Inspiration served hot, call it mostly green. With Chef Eddie. Redefining podcasts, changing the way we speak. Real talk, real life, every single week. Yeah. Oh, organic living, mind and play. Healthy conversations that elevate. From the kitchen to the culture we see. Growth, wellness, and authenticity. Laugh, learn, and be entertained. Meaningful dialogue, never the same. If it's trending, if it's true, we're bringing it straight to you. It's Trending Tuesday. Tune in, stay ready. Inspiration served hot, call it mostly green. With Chef Eddie. Redefining podcasts, changing the way we speak. Real talk, real life, every single week. Yeah. Sponsored by Danny Davis and Katie at TC, building community. Yeah. Inspiring change.
Well, hello and good evening. Welcome to Trending Tuesdays. This is such a wonderful opportunity to come out and talk to the people that are doing things in the community. And I'm certainly honored to sit here with the regular MC. I'm not trying to take your job, brother. I can't take your job. But I guess you can't. But I guess you can't MC and handle your business at the same time. But certainly, I want to welcome the studio audience for coming today. All right, yeah, let's be live, I'm telling you, I left my fan in the car because I was getting ready to whack with that music just thumping. But certainly we're here today and we're going to talk about Beyond the Ballot Part 2. What have you done for me lately, right? And with me I have, to my immediate right, we have the Honorable Jeffrey Boney, who by the way is a Jack Yates grad, right? JY for life, JY president, all that. Anyway, certainly he's in a runoff for Fort Bend County Treasurer, and we're gonna hear from him, and we're gonna hear from Karen Richard. I got it right, huh?
That's good.
See there? I used to teach English, so I kind of figured that's what that meant. Anyway, Macmillan, who is also running, but she's running for the Municipal Utility District in Clearbrook City. And so we're going to have a conversation with both of them. And certainly, how are you all doing this evening?
I'll let the ladies go first.
Thank you, Mr. Boney. I'm doing fine. I'm glad to be here. So, thanks.
Wonderful.
I'm blessed. I'm tired, running on fumes, but that's all right, man. I'm good to go.
I bet you are running
I'm
on
good to
fumes.
go.
We're going to talk about that just a little bit. But let's start out with, who is Jeffrey L. Boney beyond public service?
Wow. Okay. Got your questions already, huh? No,
I got my question. I'm ready.
Well, that's an interesting question. A lot of people may know me for a variety of things, but I mean, there are so many things that make up who I am. I'm not just. Matter of fact, when I was asked to run for office many years ago, I told the person that asked me, I'm not running for office, I'm running from office, because I know the level of scrutiny. I mean, you being an elected official, you already know. I think you made a statement once and it just got blew out of proportion and everybody started, just saying off with her head. And it's like you could do everything. 99, I've always been a public servant. I learned it from my mother. Who may she rest in peace. My mother, didn't have a college degree. My mother had a high school diploma. She worked for a company called LTV Energy Products, which eventually well, it was originally called Continental EMSCO, and then she got laid off, and she started working at Walgreens. Her first job when she graduated high school, she went back to work for Walgreens as a sales clerk and a cosmetician. And the thing that I learned about her was about service, serving the people, being kind to one another, and trying to make people happy and smile, and that's something that always resonated with me. So I always wanted to give back. I mean, coming up, I grew up in Third Ward and South Park. I actually split time, stayed with my grandparents in Third Ward, which is how I ended up going to Yates, Dodson, Ryan, and Yates. But I also, my parents moved and bought a house out in South Park off of Martin Luther King. And so, I grew up in a very, very rough environment. Across the street from me, who ended up actually becoming like a mentor to me, I didn't know anything different than what I learned from my parents. But once I got outside the house and in the community elements was not such that it allowed for you to be successful. I mean, you had, the guy that I was telling you about, his name was Albert Brown. He was one of the largest drug dealers in South Park, and he was a pimp. And so, everything I learned about life, I learned from a drug dealer and a pimp, as far as outside of my home life. So, I had to get reprogrammed.
Absolutely.
But again, as a young kid growing up, you don't really know any better. You feel like this is how you're supposed to live. This is the life that's destined for you. And so, I got into a lot of trouble, and got involved in some things that, were detrimental to my growth and my future. However, I believe, they say, I had a praying grandmother. And I had, grandparents that were believers, especially my mom's mom. And, I always felt like I had a purpose and a calling in life. And so I always pursued, like, God, what is your plan for me? And so I ended up graduating. I was always smart. I ended up graduating high school at 16. And I got a scholarship to go to the University of Oklahoma on an engineering scholarship through the Minority Engineering Program. So I went to OU on an engineering scholarship, took all my bad habits with me. And so I ended up getting in trouble out there at OU significantly. And but I was away from home, and I grew up, and I ended up, trying to find my way, man, getting closer to God, and changing my life after my freshman year by the grace of God. And so people were like, man, is this the same Jeff? That we all knew. And so, I ended up, after 3 years leaving OU, coming back home, Texas Southern University, changing my major to business management and finance, and ended up graduating Texas Southern, and I ended up going into the banking arena. And I got a job with Bank United as a management training program, trainee, and learned every aspect of banking, and that was the catalyst of my career, becoming a business banker, becoming an assistant branch manager, a regional branch manager, and becoming, upon my departure from banking, the number 2 business banker in the country for Washington Mutual as the small business banking vice president. But on the way, I also was in music.
He doesn't like to talk, right?
Yeah.
He don't like to talk.
I mean, you asked me who Jeff Boney is. That's why I say it's a whole lot of layers.
I thought you liked to write. I didn't know you liked to talk.
There's a whole lot of layers to me, But yeah. I mean, I was in music. I used to have a record label. I used to rap. Yeah. I used to be a DJ. So I ended up getting into media. I was a radio personality. Started writing for the Forward Times eventually, and speaking across the country as a speaker, and of course ended up running for office, and I served 4 terms on Missouri City Council, twice unopposed, and mayor pro tem, and ended up running for mayor. Fell short by 700 votes this past November, and my heart for public service never left. So we'll talk about more of that
we'll talk a little
later
bit more
on.
about that.
But that's a little bit
Well,
of who I
very,
am.
very interesting story.
A little bit.
You know, very
Little bit of
interesting
who I am.
story. And you know, you said that your mentor was a drug dealer and a pimp,
Yep.
which shows that you know there can be some good in everybody. Because if you no, if you have been able to do what you have done, I'm sure he imparted something positive into you.
He told me to get my God education. That's what he did.
Well,
tell
see
me.
what I mean? You never know where the message is going to come from, who the vessel is, you know, that's going to lead you down the path of righteousness. All right?
Well, I wouldn't say he did that, but I mean,
well,
I will say,
eventually God touched you.
Yes, he did.
But at any rate, thank you so very much. And you have an equal opportunity, Karen
Yes.
Rashad
Thank you. I've
Magdalene,
been
to
waiting
tell us
on that
who
opportunity.
you are
Thank you so much.
beyond the ballot.
Very interesting, Mr. Boney.
Yes,
So
indeed.
thank you so much. I am, as you said, Karen Rashad McMillan. I am a native Houstonian, born and bred in Houston on the south side. So not Yates, sorry, Jones Falcon.
I know you're sorry. I know you're sorry.
Just in football. But we were Jones was known as the Vanguard School. So we were known as the smart school. Y'all remember that? So
Yeah, we remember.
So a lot of smart people hailed from Jones. But in my educational pursuit, I went to University of Houston. I have a degree in journalism, bachelor in journalism, and I've been using that I've been using those communication experiences to work in small and large entities, state and county, but they are community outreach. They are program management and project management and program coordination. So I've done that for a number of organizations for more than 30 years. I've been a representative of communications to help things that help people. So and I know that it's my purpose to help people. And what I like to call myself is the traditional or the proverbial church girl. I grew up in Houston singing in a choir, Southeast Inspirational Choir, shout out.
Oh, yeah.
And so we just sang
Outreach.
Saturday. We had some new, worked some of our greatest hits per se, My Liberty, You Made the Difference, and we dropped them last year, but we performed at Acres Home at the Family Fun Day, that
This
Sylvester
past
Turner
weekend.
Fun
Yeah.
Day. So that was my most recent activity. So we're still out there. We're still spreading the message, the good news, if you will. And so I've done a lot of things, a lot of church work, but things that have purpose. I believe that walking your purpose gives you so many benefits, and it's especially beneficial when you can get paid to talk. South Cullen in South Park and Sunnyside South Park, OST, that area. And my mom was always active in her civic club, and she always encouraged us to be active. So I can still hear Mama's voice in my ear saying,
Absolutely.
get involved, get active. Don't just sit there and complain or think about it or talk about it, be about it. So in my journey, I've experienced, I'm a baby boomer, so I've experienced a lot. I experienced South Park when it was South Park, before it was MLK. I experienced it being white, Caucasian, and I experienced it transitioning, doing what they called white flight. So when I went to Jones in the 10th grade, because you know 9th grade was with junior high and I was at Cullen, and by the time, when I went to Jones in the 10th grade, we had several hundred people that were white, and when I graduated, they weren't there. And the composition of the neighborhood was reflective of that. That whole neighborhood had changed. They got out of there.
Yeah.
And so I experienced that. And so the busing, I experienced being dropped off at the bus and being one or two or three people to integrate Hartman. And then going back to Cullen because it was my zone or my nearest junior high, and then finishing up at Jones. But I've had not a hard life compared to what you just described, Mr. Boney. Not a hard life. I had lots of mentors in the community, in the church. I worked for the church. I've had, like I said, lots of experiences to use my gifts.
You're not a PK, are you?
I'm not a PK.
Not a PK?
No,
All right.
I had an uncle as a pastor. But lots of guidance and lots of experiences in the church. And so I would go to those conferences and those conventions, starting with the James Cleveland Workshop, Gospel Music Workshop of America, and I would learn a lot of things and experience a lot of things. And so I'm taking these skill sets, these administrative and communication and creative to an extent, because I was writing plays for the church, to use them to impact people, to ask them, what makes you happy? What makes you feel healthy, safe, and whole? And that's what I'm doing in my community.
Wonderful. And I can't resist. I remember you did mention football. And I remember when Yates put a real whooping on Jones. and they were going around talking about Vanguard, are you using your brains? You remember that?
Because we was the smart school.
Yeah.
So why y'all have to throw rocks at my bus, though? I was a Legionnaire, and y'all throwing rocks. You won the game.
Y'all did a little stuff, too, now. Come on. Y'all did something allegedly to our lion, but it's okay. It's all right. We all got past it. We all friends now. How about that?
Southside.
But certainly, that's very, very interesting, that you have taken your skills with the spiritual part of your life and moved forward to certainly try to make a difference in your community, and I think that's outstanding.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go back to you, Mr. Boney, and you alluded to it, but I'm going to give you a chance to talk about it. You recently ran for mayor in Missouri City, and I'm going to tell you, that really threw me off. I'm going to have to say that. I was looking at the Harris County returns, and I thought you had it. And wasn't even thinking that Missouri City is Fort Bend. And so, 700 votes, that'll break your heart. But certainly that was this past November. And why are you running now for another office so soon after a tough loss?
That's something that I was asking myself because, I feel like I don't feel like, I know that I'm called by God. I believe that, I listen to his voice. I know when he speaks to me, and I don't ignore that. And as much as I've always wanted to say no to things that he's called me to do, he just keeps pressing upon me to move forward and do what it is that he's called me to do. He pushed me to leave OU to come back home. And if I wouldn't have came back home to Texas Southern, I wouldn't have got my career in banking. I wouldn't have met my now wife of 29 years. I would not have had my beautiful 3 young daughters, children, 2 daughters and a son. And so I think that for me, I'm not a glutton for punishment, but I am someone that believes in service. It's in my heart to serve. And I cannot run away from that. God has given me a calling to serve. And so for me, it's not about the title. One of my mentors told me, Jeff, you don't have to have a title to be effective, but as soon as you get a title, be effective. And I believe that it's about effectiveness. It's about doing what you're supposed to do once you get the role and being accountable to God and to the people. And I believe that so many times people are looking for leaders. They're looking for leadership. They're looking for people that are going to step up. And, I'm one of those people that, when everybody else is running away, I'm going to step up and I'm going to run into the battle. And I believe that's important. So many people want to run away. And it's easy to run away. Sometimes you want to just say, man, y'all can have this. It's so many times, man, that people, sometimes it's like a, situation where you feel like you're doing this labor of love, but people don't appreciate you or it. Right. You give of yourself, you sacrifice so much, and it goes unappreciated. But then you have to realize why you do what you do. Are you doing it for them, or are you doing it to please God? And so I'm not trying to sound overly religious here, but that's who I am. That's how I'm wired. That's how I think and how I move. So I can't ignore the fact that he's called me to be a servant. Muhammad Ali said that service to the people is the rent that you pay for your room here on the earth. Yeah. And so while I'm here on this earth, I gotta do what it is that I'm called to do. I cannot ignore God's calling on my life to lead. And so I'm a leader, and I'm not gonna run away from that responsibility. I just wanna say as I close, speaking of Southeast Inspirational, I grew up with Miss Shirley Joyner and Reese over there at All About Music on Griggs.
Yes.
And I used to go to Outreach Missionary Baptist Church and
I
listen to
went.
Yolanda Adams before she blew up.
Ooh,
She used to sing, and people would always be like, man, why should I buy her music when I can go hear her for free?
Free.
And so she had to leave Houston in order to really blow up and become the Yolanda Adams that we know today. But I still got that album, by the way, Southeast Inspirational. Choir. I still got the album with the little sky blue.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the album.
Well, speaking of inspiration, you obviously have inspired him.
Yeah.
He started out talking about drug dealers and pimps, and
Yeah.
now he's talking about the Spirit of the Lord.
Yes,
Look at God.
hallelujah. Won't he
Look
do
at God. Look at God. But certainly, thank you. So, Karen, tell me what inspired you to really run for public office? Is this your first time running?
This is my first time
time
running
running.
for a public office, and
Okay.
I'm just pleased to be sitting by such experienced elected officials or candidates. And what inspired me was I too feel a calling, but I couldn't put a name to it. Like I said, my mother always said, be proactive, be civil-minded, be engaged, be informed, be educated, and participate. She said, don't be on the sidelines. And then Miss Shirley was also, I call her Miss Shirley, was also a mentor. And so she pushed us. I grew up where I was 18 and grown when I went to Outreach, but I came from Mount Olive. But I grew up listening to her and still can hear her in my ear. Get up there, girl, stop. And so I had that mentorship with Miss Shirley. But recently, a couple of years ago, a young woman by the name of Yen Rabe knocked on my door. She was campaigning in our community, Clearbrook City, Clearbrook City, not Houston, Clearbrook City, Texas, and she was campaigning, and she talked about me and shared things that I didn't know about the city where I lived, and I felt that's a no-no. That's not what my mentors, not what my mom told me. I need to know, and I need to get involved, because why don't I know? Because I'm not that involved. I was busy raising my family, going to school, doing projects, going to church, doing projects, and I told her, when she said, why don't you get involved, HOA or something like that, I said, probably when I retire. I see myself retiring in a couple of years. And so, as life, or God would have it, she came back and knocked on her door again and said, I have in my notes where you said you would consider running, and I'm asking you. She called me, I was on my way home from church, and then she knocked on my door.
Wow.
That you would consider running, and I would like you to be my running mate. So she was the catalyst to get me started on this trail, this journey to learning more about my community and having the courage to run without political experience. I'd done a lot. I'd done some projects and some campaign assistance with our former mayor, Mr. Turner, and with Sheila Jackson Lee. And so I had those experiences, but never as a candidate. I'd always been on the sidelines helping. So this time I'm up front. And so I learned so much, mainly because my tagline, my theme is, do you know where you live? And I found out that all the residents, there are about 19,000 plus residents, there are 14 subdivisions that make up Clearbrook City, and there are over 19,000 people there that don't really know, as I didn't, where we lived. So because our address says Houston, Texas, 77089, we thought we lived in Houston. I would tell people, oh, I live in Houston, Texas. My address says Houston, Texas, and I have a 0 in my zip code, but we don't. I live in, and those people in those 14 subdivisions of Clearbrook City live in Clearbrook City, Texas, 77089. So I found that out, and that started me to digging, going through AI and through archives and through minutes and agendas of the board and looking at that. I also found out that the 5-member board, it's a MUD board, Municipal Utility District, that is often not part of big cities, that runs everything, infrastructure, fiscal management, everything, police, EMS, y'all know the drill. They run everything, but it's a 5-member board, and there were all men, they were all Caucasian men, and they don't have term limitations. Well, that made me very interested. It made me lean in and say, I think I can do this. I think I need to do this. I know that in a community as diverse as ours, because when I looked up the demographics and the diversity, there were more Hispanics, and the fastest growing racial group is Asian. There are a lot of Vietnamese in there, and then there are African Americans. And so I wanted to be part of the diversity, because y'all know taxation without representation, as we all know from years ago, is wrong. And I couldn't believe that that's still happening, that we pay these mud taxes, and that there are 5 white men sitting on the board without term limitation between ages 71 and 80s, that are deciding where our tax money goes and making decisions for everything in that city.
Well, certainly you have proved what I believe to be true. You have done service in your community, because I believe that before you ask the community to support you, you need to support the community.
Yes.
And so it sounds like that's where you have made your mark, and you're starting and moving forward. What's also interesting is that there are a lot of runoffs, such as what Jeff is in, but your race is not a runoff. So let us know when your election day.
Great. My election date is May 2nd this year, 2026, and early voting starts April 20th. So I am out, as Mr. Boney says, I'm working my off. I'm knocking on doors, I'm singing, I am at podcasts.
Now, don't make us have you give us a little, belt out a little
No,
tune
no, don't do that.
All right.
I'm at podcasts, I'm at forums, I'm putting, I have information in our South Belt Leader newspaper, so I'm doing everything I can.
That's
I'm
a
visiting
great-
churches.
South Belt Leader is a great newspaper. A lot of people don't know about, I remember Marie Flickinger.
Yeah, she passed last year.
Yeah, she did, and I had just been with her the week before, but
She's a great
we
community.
really loved each other, she and
Yes.
I. And so anyway, that was a great loss.
Her husband still sits on the board.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So, yeah.
And then, of course, her son is on the city council
Yes.
with me.
So lots
Fred.
of longstanding and generational positioning and support. And I just feel like in this climate of diversity, equity, and inclusion being a bad word, that it's not, that I need to get in that room and be sitting at that table and be contributing in a way that, that needs to be, yeah. So I'm running on increased communication and transparency.
Okay. Well, and that newspaper is a well-kept secret. Yeah. Come on, give it a hand. A lot of people don't know,
Yes.
but a lot of people subscribe to that in that area, and so the word does get out.
Well, good.
And so, of course, are you still with the Forward Times?
No, I left Forward
Oh my
Times
gosh.
late last year. yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, you
After
were
15
so
years
wonderful.
as the
I'm
editor.
telling you, he would bring a wealth of information, and he wasn't shy about it either. So I don't know about that making everybody happy stuff. I don't know if everybody was happy after they read some of those articles, but they were so true and so informative that yes, that was a very vital part of your life that I really appreciate.
Thank you.
And he writes so well, that's always great, because
wasn't
sometimes
AI. It wasn't AI.
we, as African Americans, sometimes we don't write as well or enunciate as well. So you were a great representation of what a great education could be at JY for life. Okay, let's move on.
Smart school.
The smart school. No, we're not gonna
The
gang up
football
on you.
school.
We're not gonna gang up on you. No, we're not. But let me go to one question. What issue keeps you up at night? Well, let me start with you. What issue keeps you up at night, and why does it matter to you personally?
One of the key issues, and I alluded to it previously, is the communication. It keeps me up at night is the lack of diverse communication. So currently, our notices are posted on the Clearbrook City Mud Building on the door, and they're on the website as well. And then sometimes they're printed in the South Belt Leader. But many of my neighbors, we don't go to those places, so we're not aware. And so there is an election every even year. There's one in 2026, the one that I'm running for, position 4, director position 4. And then in 2028, there will be another election for positions 1, 2, and 3. So this year, positions 4 and 5, and then in 2028,
So
1,
they're
2, and 3.
staggered.
They're staggered.
Okay.
So, and people didn't know. So they would tell me when I knocked on the door, and I've been doing that for a couple of months, they would tell me, I know where I live, I know where my address is, and I said, but do you really know where you live? Do you know that we have a meeting every third Wednesday, tomorrow, every third Wednesday at the Clearbrook City Mud Building? And do you know that we have elections every 2 years? And do you know that there are a governance of 5 directors that have no term limitations? Do you know there's $11 million spent annually? Do you know about the infrastructure and projects that are going on? And they didn't. They were stunned. Do you know that you can't vote at your regular precinct voting places where you voted in your primaries? You have to vote at the Mud Building, which is our city hall. So clear communication. I would like to promote SMS or text messaging, to add that to where they're currently sending messages, and signage. We don't know when there's a meeting. We don't know when there's an election. And those are my key major concerns.
And maybe some of those infrastructure projects.
Yes.
They need to let people
Yeah.
know so that they can navigate around them.
Right. They know if they come to the meeting, but when I went to the
Right.
last meeting, I think there were 12 or 13 people there, including the board and the officers and the city manager. So people don't know. And they told me, they think that they're HOA. They think it's the HOA, and they
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. It's really confusing when you have an address that says Houston instead of Clearbrook City.
Yeah, that would be confusing, especially since it's a 77089.
Exactly.
You would certainly think it
Yeah.
was Houston.
So, yeah.
And so, Mr. Boney, what issue keeps you up at night, and why does it matter to you personally?
You know, the Bible says our people
Oh, nah.
perish.
He preaching now, y'all. He preaching now.
About to
That's
have
all right.
church.
Come on now. That may be your other calling on your life.
And baby,
Maybe.
our people perish for lack of knowledge. The issue that keeps me up is what I see every day in our community is a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding, a lack of familiarity of what's going on, and you know, it's disheartening. And then to have people with apathy or apathetic views because they're like, my vote don't count, or they gonna do what they gonna do anyway,
Right.
and they don't come out to vote, and not just coming out to vote, but knowing who you're voting for and why
Yes.
you're voting for it. And you know, I've shared this story before here on this podcast, but when I knocked on the door of a lady who I asked her to vote for me for mayor, and she was in Missouri City, 67 years old, and she said, "What you running for again, baby?" I said, "I'm running for mayor." And I told her about my pedigree, my experience, my this, my that, my vision. And she said, "I can't vote for you." And I was like, "Well, you know, you mind telling me why?" She said, "I like Turner." And I said,
See? That's what I'm saying.
"You like
Yeah.
Turner?" Like, I said, I'm thinking like, who? What Turner? Like, I said, "Man, when you talking about Sylvester Turner?" And she said, "Yeah, I like him. I knew his family and da 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 da." And I said, "Well, ma'am, you know, first of all, you're in Missouri City, and Sylvester was the mayor of Houston, but you know, he since, you know, went on to become a congressman, but he passed away and you know, and was buried in March. Sylvester died."
Oh, my.
Was the response.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
See?
we laugh,
Yeah.
but this is a true reality
True
of
reality,
what we're
yes.
experiencing in our communities. People are disengaged, they're unaware, they're ignorant to what's going on, and they are on the menu
Yeah.
every single day, and they're not at the table.
Right.
And so when they elect or refuse to elect people, those people that are in decision-making in authority figures that make these key decisions, like what we see at the county level. Y'all see what's happening in Fort Bend County right now. Y'all see what happened at the state level. You see what's happening in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
That happened as a result of people not voting or voting for people that they shouldn't vote for.
Right.
And your lack of voting or you saying I'm not going to vote is a vote in itself, because the people that did vote for those individuals won and you lost. And not only did you lose by way of who got into office, you lost because you're getting rights and resources taken away from you. They removed the DEI or made that a focus like you talked about. They just stripped the state from the HUD programs, and that is going to impact black people and brown people, people of color. And so all of these things are happening to us in real time, and it's because people who are elected to office or appointed to office by those that are elected to office are making the decisions. So the question is, how do we change it? So that's what keeps me up at night.
I bet so.
You know.
And that's 701 people would have made a difference.
Yep.
Right.
But it's beyond my, I mean, forget me.
I know, but
It's
I'm just
about-
saying, just think if we had 700 more knowledgeable people, period.
Right.
You know, because I'm sure it was more than that did not participate.
I had people tell me, man,
Absolutely.
hey, you know what, man? I thought you had it.
Right.
They didn't vote.
In other words, they thought you had it, so you didn't need it.
I didn't need them.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway.
Well, I think, are we getting ready to have a commercial break here? Well, all right then, we're gonna have a commercial break, so you'll focus your attention over there so we can see what's going on Trending Tuesdays.
All right.
All right, there we go. Hi, I'm Danette Davis, and boy, what a discussion. You're at Trend Tuesdays. It's a K. Davis in the Community Foundation presentation, and trending right now is the elections. And so what you've seen, my first episode, you know, what have you done for me lately? Well, that's now, and the first one was Unfiltered, and we have one more series because we got a round of votes. I think I was trying to bring some folk on that, but that vote is May 2nd, so, but there are some folk that are at the end of May and that kind of thing, so we're gonna keep it going because we feel like you deserve it, right? You are the community. Now, Kay Davis in the Community, Lauren, I want to introduce to you Executive Director, Lauren Marshall. And Lauren, we're gonna give you the mic, just a little bit about what the programs that we have, if you would, Lauren, real quick. And then we'll introduce Chelsea, who's working with you on this next program that we're going to roll out.
Okay, we have our Random Act of Kindness grant, which is assistance to help individuals and families going through a temporary situation. We have our Community Art Partnership, like our George Ford statue, the Warrior statue at TSU. We have our Nourish and Flourish, which is our health and wellness with Chef Eddie of Mostly Greens. We have our Mentee Mentor Art Partnership. And as you know, we've had artists come in here, so we've got Ange and Roxy, and Valley. Those are the ones that are coming in, you know.
She's getting nervous, but the art that you see around you,
Thank you.
they are art pieces, and the mentees, we let them show their work, and some of it is for sale as we go through. But that is one of our programs. What was the last program? I think one thing I want to share. We've been very fortunate. We're 2 years in on Trending Tuesdays.
Program.
Right. I hope.
School
Yeah.
art
What is it?
program.
The
Staff.
school art.
Yes.
Okay. And it is.
So we give. So we partner with schools, middle school and high school. We work with them. We also bring in mentors to help them, to let them know that art can be something that is sustainable for them. They can have a job as an artist. So we just try to reach out to them and let them know that we see you, we value you, and we try to help their programs as well. So, you know, try to donate to the program so they can continue art in schools.
Okay, and before we get to let Chelsea tell you about this latest presentation that we do, we want to tell you we're excited because we've gotten some grants, woohoo, what have you, and the one that's helped support this very event that we're doing. And we have Camp Logan, if you remember, there's a short doc that we're doing about Camp Logan and their success, and we were supported by the Houston Arts Alliance. We got a grant for that. We have a LIST grant, Small Business Program grant that's working with our affordable housing and small and community grant.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be doing some things with that one. That's the other side of what we do. And I think the last one we just got is for Chef Eddie. It's his Nourish and Flourish. It's funded by LIST, and he will be. It's going to be a food class that he's doing twice a month, what have you, and it's walking you through this whole organic ride that we're on with him, and about how to eat healthy and teach you how to do it on a budget that where you can afford. You can grow your own and eat out your garden or eat off your porch and things like that. But we'll be doing that. That'll start in May. So just to let you know, and then we're gonna let Chelsea tell you a little bit about Kay's Closet real quick, which is the next thing we're gonna open.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I am Chelsea. I am Danette's daughter. I try not to get up here and stuff with them because I'm often in awe of the amount of work and passion that I know they have, and then how they're able to table that, put that here, and then make it happen for you guys. It's not easy to do. So I would just first like to say thank you very much to my mom, thank you very much to Lauren, Letitia, the chef, the staff and crew. Yes, thank you for the mic, I appreciate you. All righty. Okay, so when coming up with this concept of our pop-up shop and our thrift shop, Kay's Closet, there's a lot of different things that I've had to try to reach into and out of to figure out what does this need to look like and say overall. So before we were able to really get somewhere, it's like, who is Kay and why should anyone want to get anything out of Kay's Closet, right? So we came up with philanthropist and business owner Danette K. Davis of K. Davis in the Community uses unconventional art displays, presentations, and performances to celebrate, educate, and facilitate safe learning opportunities in the Third Ward, Sunnyside, and South Park communities. And I think that wraps that up pretty well, who she is and what she's about. Everything that you give or are a part of with her is gonna go back into our children and into education, period. So we would like to just, we're excited about the 26th of April where we will have our launch. And so that means raffles, that means extra little food and VIP gifts that you wouldn't normally see at different things. That means it's a celebration. That means that everything will be presented to you in the way that we want you to see who we are and what we're about. And we are not letting the word thrift mean anything other than just fun. What it is. We're gonna be excited and have everything that we need to have. Clean, fun. It's not anything that you wouldn't want someone that you love to be a part of. Everything that she's about is about love. So that's it. I would just like to say thank you everyone for being here, for supporting them the way that you do, relentlessly. But April 26th is when we're gonna pop out with our poppin' pop-up. Kay's Closet, arts, clothes, and more. And we're gonna be at the Wheeler location.
Yes, and we're gonna have a fashion show.
There's the fashion show and all.
Yes, ma'am. We will have it popping across the stage, whatever, so you can have a lot of fun. I want to introduce to you someone that's going to come a little bit later. This is Grace. And
hey, everybody. I am Grace Chandler. How are y'all doing this evening? Yes. So we're going to wake up and we're going to be really talking about these politics because some of the things they said at this table, I know we have questions. And even if you don't have questions, I have questions because I am that person who loves fashion, food, and I'm not going to say I like politics. So I have lots of questions because I need y'all to educate me. Let me know, why should I vote for you? What makes you the best candidate for the mayor, for the treasurer, or even for the mud? Yes, mayor of Pearland. Mm-hmm.
Right. We're gonna thank you. I told Grace after Grace is a bombshell. She's so we call her rapid fire. We're gonna put her right close. We're gonna put her at the end, and she's gonna ask those questions that because she used to be a part of the young professional. She said 40 and under, and now she's a Houston Urban League, part of the Guild, what have you. And so we're trying to get these young folk out to vote. and get them to understand. And Grace is going to ask a few questions that we can keep and we can use on our onesies and and as we can pass around so we can share the kind of information she thinks that they would need to hear, because those are the folk working with TSU, with NAACP, and others that she's working with every day. So I wanted that to come out. That's why we're bringing her on later, so y'all understand, and then we'll do a little Q&A from the audience. With that, I'm going to we'll step away, and we've added Quentin Wiltz, who's running for mayor of Pearland, to the table, so you can get a whole nother kind of lesson, I'm sure, with those two powerhouses and that newbie to politics, Karen. Okay, back to y'all. Thank you.
Gives to the community, and that was the thing that just really drew me to her when I first met her, how loving and kind she really is, and the compassion that she has for everyone that she engages with. Well, we've been joined now by Quentin Wiltz. He was a dedicated Pearland leader, husband, and father of two, with nearly 20 years of community investment, with a background in mathematics, an executive MBA from the University of Houston, Go Cougars, and expertise in project management and finance. He has built a career focused on efficiency and sustainable growth. Quentin has served 7 years on the Pearland Parks and Recreation and Beautification Board, including 4 as chairman, helping deliver major community projects and initiatives. He has also supported workforce development, public safety, and family services through various leadership and volunteer roles. Now running for mayor of Pearland, Quentin is committed to bringing accountable, strategic leadership to help the city grow responsibly and strengthen its future for all residents. Welcome, Quentin Wiltz.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
Well, certainly. We were glad that you were able to join us. And I guess I'll do a rapid round because you missed the other questions. So
I do want to add just one little point of clarification.
Please, please.
You mentioned my graduate degree, but neglected to mention I'm a proud graduate of an HBCU, Southern University in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
Go Jags.
Oh, and I'm going to tell y'all that's important. I graduated from the Spelman College, the #1 HBCU for the last 19 years, but I digress. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I don't know.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Great information.
Sure. So I don't know where you want me to start. Or you want to ask a question or?
Okay. Well, let me start out with who is Quentin Wiltz?
Sure.
Beyond public service.
Yeah. So I know that you mentioned invest, and I think people sometimes think about invest as far as dollars, and they forget about the sweat equity. As I heard you mentioning that before, it's important to pour in before you expect to get back out. But you know, I tell people these light-skinned brothers coming back, so look out, look out. Look out. I'm not from here, but I'm sure there's a lot of you all that know some Wiltzes, either in 3rd Ward, 5th Ward.
Helen. I know Helen.
Correct. One of the, I guess, most prominent was Simon Wiltz. Mm-hmm. And so definitely second cousin. Definitely. So, but I'm, like many people of our heritage, we often come from the same places, and more specifically, the same plantations, unfortunately. And so my family is from South Louisiana, bayous and sugarcane. I may have the blazer and the button-up, but we didn't grow up with a lot, but we had everything we needed. My dad never went to college. I worked for Texaco most of his life and worked offshore. My mom was a elementary school educator for 32 years. She taught public school. And I've got 3 other brothers. And so, I tell people, before Katrina made these trailers popular, we were in them way before then. And, it's what we had. And then once my family got a little bit more situated, We were able to move into a different house, and my older brothers served in the military, and my younger brother and I were the only ones to go to college. And I got a full ride to college at when it was USL in Lafayette. And then, unfortunately, college was the destination for me and not the journey. And so at the time, I had a love interest at LSU. And I was at LSU so much, they thought I was enrolled at LSU. I wasn't. So lost my scholarships, transferred, and then eventually got kicked out of school. I had a 0.666 GPA.
Y'all have something in common, don't you?
Yeah. And luckily, for me, it was a life-changing event. I worked with work release, ex-convicts, people who were struggling just to make it. And it taught me a lot about sacrifice, lost opportunities, and to appreciate the opportunities that we are given to make the most of them. And at the same time, for people who didn't have the opportunities I had, they looked to me and poured into me, and they told me, I didn't belong there, and helped to get me on the right path. And meanwhile, my mom was praying for me. My mom's a good Catholic, so I think the amount of money she paid for candles, we bought the church annex, plus a few fish dinners and everything else. But eventually, I have a really strong wife and supporter, and she graduated on time, by the way. That's a point of clarification. She did. And then, I got back in. We got married in college, had my son in college. And then, back in the day, there was this once in a 100-year storm called Katrina. And we were in Baton Rouge. My wife's from New Orleans. Her family came in. We baptized my son. And then, luckily, they were saved, the fact that they were there. They lost everything. We moved to Houston, settled in Pearland, and that's where we raised our family. Been living there ever since, 20 years. 10 years on the east side of Pearland. Many people call it Old Pearland. I didn't know what it was. For me, it reminded me of home. But for a lot of people who grew up in Houston, who know the Houston area, you know the history of Pearland. And there's some significant challenges for people who look like us in certain areas. I'm not saying that that's the whole. Things have changed, but there's an element that still exists. And then we moved to Shadow Creek, so lived on both sides of Pearland. My kids were raised in both sides. And now my youngest son, who I talk about, he's a junior at the United States Military Academy. And my youngest son is in probably 30 days, is going to graduate from Shadow Creek High School and going off to Xavier in Louisiana to study medicine. And we will be empty nest.
Okay.
Empty nest. So that's my story outside of politics and being involved in the community. I'm just a dad, a proud husband, and a father, and really looking to do the same things that Pearland was able to offer for me and affordability and raising my family and trying to do that for families there now.
Wonderful. And just a shameless plug, HBCUs are what's up, y'all. Seriously. You have a sense of family.
Sure.
Why I always say Spelman was more than an education, it was an experience. And I think that that's what we can attest to being graduates of HBCUs. Certainly, I think, Grace, is it time for you yet? Well, let me introduce you, Grace. Okay? I'm going to introduce you. Grace Chandler, everybody, who you heard from briefly. She is the 2026-27 president of the Houston Area Urban League Guild, a volunteer auxiliary of the Houston Area Urban League, known online as Super Chandler, 1982. She is an accomplished marketing communications leader, an NAACP volunteer where I first met her, and she pops up everywhere, and a 2025 National Urban League Marketing Chair, recognized for empowering community leadership and driving social change in Houston. Welcome to my co-MC, Grace Chandler.
Thank you for having me. So, fun fact, she's also my mentor. So don't let her, why I pop up all the time is because I'm trying to find her. Because, I love black women who are doing, I gotta take this off. I love black women who are doing a lot in the community. So first and foremost, all you HBCUs, y'all forgot about the best one, the Texas Southern University.
yeah.
You know I had to say it. Proud graduate. I love the school. I was a majorette. I was a basketball person. I did everything at that school. And my parents are also alum there. So, you know, you have to give the shout out, and I'll go ahead and say PV is good too. PV is good too, because my cousin went there. But questions. So we're up here, and everybody's always trying to figure out, why are the youth not involved? I can tell you, it's over our heads. We don't know what you do. We know you're running for mayor. We know you're running for MUD. We know you're running to be the treasurer. But tell me, my first question is, what, in layman's terms, are you giving back to us? Why should I vote for you? Layman's terms.
Starting with
you. Ladies first.
Okay. Layman's terms. Because I represent you. I represent women who are not on the board, and let me say, on the MUD board, and let me say, MUD is just Municipal Utility District, and there are MUDs all over Texas. I represent African Americans in Clearbrook City MUD. So it's not just the MUD, because there are so many, especially in Texas. So it's Clearbrook City, this little unincorporated city that partners to get all of their resources and services. I represent them. I represent females. I told people last month, I'm trying to make, in Women's History Month, I'm trying to make women's history. I would be, if elected, I would be the first African-American woman. So people since the 70s. And they should vote for me because I have community outreach experience, because I have knocked on doors, because I have done assessments in my previous roles, because I have done surveys and said, what makes you happy? What makes you feel safe? So I think, yes, that's why they should vote for me. They're going to be able to put a face to the words diversity.
So let me dig a little deeper. What resources can you help me get?
Okay, so what people mostly ask when I ask them, what concerns you in your neighborhood is, why is my water bill so high?
Okay.
So that's the kind of sticky part, because we get our water from City of Houston, and then they treat it. And so we just have to pay for it because we truck it in. We pipe it in. We have wells and we have storage units, but we pay for it. But the other part of our large water bill, and it's about $103. That's a big water bill, right? Mm-hmm. But it pays for EMS, fire, police, garbage pickup twice a week. So it pays for a lot of stuff. That I can look at. We can audit that, and we can see what contractors are paying, and we can shop it and get 3 bids. And I don't know that the current board is shopping it, because they said, when I asked questions, if it ain't broke, we ain't fixing it, and this is the way we've been doing it. So I'm looking for change. I'm also looking for messages, to send messages in clear communication to meet people where they are. The young generation, they're not going up to the MUD building and look on a door for a notice that said it's election year, won't you vote? They're not going to the website, to the Clearbrook City website necessarily, unless they really want something. Their HOA dues, they want to pay them online or something, but they're not scrolling down to find announcements and transparency, so it's hard to find. So I would say we're going to put it on the banner page, we're going to put it on the home page, and we're going to do text messaging. That's what I'm asking the board to do, and they were like, what? And a social media page. Our Chamber of Commerce has one. Why we don't have a social media page? So that's what I would bring.
Okay, thank you. Fort Bend County Treasurer. Over here, drug dealer, pimping, all the good stuff. I mean, you got me interested when you said all that.
Man,
so I want to know,
hold up.
now that you're a man of God, tell me why should I vote for you? How are you going to help me with my money? Because I heard treasurer and I think money.
Absolutely. Well, for me, it's real simple. Three reasons. One, I'm trusted. Number 2, I'm tested. And number 3, I'm ready to serve on day one. So this role is extremely important. When people think about, I know it's not the sexiest position when you talk about treasurer, but it's an extremely important position because we're responsible for safeguarding the money of Fort Bend County residents, whether it's your payroll taxes, the sales taxes, fines and fees that we collect, not only for our county departments, but also for entities like the Fort Bend Toll Road Authority that y'all all spend that money on, traveling on the Fort Bend Toll, the Fort Bend Drainage District, and many other entities. Also, we're responsible for investments and handling the investments and having the right investment strategy for the county. And lastly, payroll. We handle the payroll responsibilities for all Fort Bend County employees, as well as vendor payments for those that do business with the county. So making sure that those paychecks and those people that are depending on the money from the county after doing business with them to get paid on time is extremely important. If you don't have the right person in place that understands how to safeguard the money and manage it properly, then those funds can be diverted away from the essential services that directly impact Fort Bend County residents, whether it be your roads, whether it be your law enforcement, your bridges, streets, sidewalks, and various other things, drainage, that are very, very essential to residents. And you know who always gets the brunt of a lack of resources? People of color in certain areas of town. And so for me, when I say I'm trusted, I've been given the people's trust. I was elected 4 terms, twice unopposed, as a Missouri City Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem. I was the chair of the finance. So I was responsible for making all these key decisions on our finances as well as our investment strategy. I've been tested. I've been an advocate. I've been someone that is put through the fire and also have stood up for the people when it came to key issues in Missouri City and Fort Bend County. And lastly, again, I'm ready to serve on day one. I've done the work. I've been entrusted with the people's support, not only at the local level, but at the county level, the regional level, state level, and national level. And I'm ready to go on day one. Ain't nothing phony about Jeff Boney.
Okay, so I do have a follow-up for you. So you said you safeguard our money, all that, safeguard my money. But you also said a key one. So if I'm a contractor, are you able to change it so that I get paid like in 2 weeks instead of 30 days or 60 days or 90 days? Is that part of you, or are you just making sure I get paid?
Well, we honor the contract. So the contract that you sign and that you negotiate with the county, we adhere to what the contract states. So yeah, but if that person is not honoring the contract and making sure that if you were to be paid in 2 weeks, 90 days, 30 days, whatever the contract states, that's an issue. And so you want to have the right people in place. And right now, that particular office is living in the Stone Ages. We need to modernize. We need to make sure our internal controls are stronger. And I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do an operational and technology review to make sure that we're operating using AI and other technology to upgrade and modernize our offices. So I'm ready to serve again, like I said, on day one.
Okay. So we're going to my favorite. So known fact is that I live in Pearland. Woohoo! Lived there for a super long time, even though I went to Sharpstown High School. Yeah. So I know about a lot of, Sharpstown. Nobody's gonna clap about Sharpstown? I mean, y'all all clapped about Yates. Yeah. Y'all clapped about Jones, y'all just.
Now I'm trying to figure out whose address you use.
Yeah, I'm just, a little address that I might have had. But Pearland, there are some challenges out there. Sure. What are you gonna do to help us, people of color, out in Pearland?
So, I've been asked this question before, and there were 2 questions you asked. What are you going to do for me? That was the first one. Mm-hmm. And then now necessarily, specifically people of color. I think out of the roles that are represented here, for younger people, I consider myself to be young, so myself included. This role as mayor, we operate a little bit differently than Houston. We almost have an executive board, so the position I'm running for essentially is chairman of the board, and we hire a full-time person as the city manager to manage the operations. And for this particular role, I think I might be speaking maybe a little out of turn, but I would think has the most significant impact on a young person's life, because as a mayor, we make decisions that impact and affect your childhood, the things that you remember, recall, how you grew up, the opportunities that were afforded to you in your neighborhood, the people who live next to you, the businesses that show up next to you, the job opportunities that you have, the transportation that you take, the people that you see and go to school with. All of these things are decided by your city council and your mayor, and the decisions impact your life, your childhood, your opportunities, and your trajectory in life. And so I feel like these are significant things that I can offer to a young person or a person midlife or seniors looking to ride out their golden years or just come into their new tricycle, whatever it is. This is the position that will afford you those opportunities. So that's what I can offer you is just having a childhood, having an experience, or even opportunities after college that you come back that you can enjoy and call home. The other thing is, you asked specifically about people of color. Pearland is one of the most diverse cities in the state of Texas. And I've had this conversation earlier today. The challenge that we have as people of color is identity, who we identify with and who we choose to call ourselves and be proud of. I come from Louisiana, y'all. When I grew up, there wasn't anything but black or white. It doesn't matter what shade you were. If you didn't pass the paper test, you probably could pass, and we called them people passant blanc. And they switched the color lines and got opportunities that some other people didn't have. They move away and they have a whole nother life. And I tell that story because in Pearland, after segregation, because of integration, there are many things that exist now that didn't exist before. We have certain areas in Houston that we say is a black area, Third Ward, Sunnyside. We go to black churches. We go to black restaurants. Well, in Pearland, it's a little different because there's so many people from so many different cultures with so many different identities that choose to spend their lives together. And their kids have and inherit those identities. So they don't have a single identity that they cling to because maybe my mom is black, or my dad is from Nigeria, or my mom is white from France or Venezuela. It is a challenge to talk about who we're going to serve and how we're going to serve them based on the needs that they have. And it's meeting them where they are and providing them with the opportunities that life affords them and having them recognize the benefits they have of being associated with a class system or a color system. It's very difficult out in the suburbs because of the opportunities that we now have. And so when I talk to young individuals about what I can give them, it may not be directed specifically on a culture or a class. But the one thing that I know that I can truly give them is an opportunity that is colorless. I see them for who they are, but those opportunities that they will get provided or provided to them should not matter based on who they are.
I'm so glad you said that, but go ahead. You go
I know
first.
you didn't. You're not asking me the question, but I just want to say, I don't know if I'll ever be on the ballot again. But as far as why I think young people should vote for me, I think I'm relatable. I think I'm responsible, and I am respectful. I don't have to be the smartest one in the room. Somebody your age may have the answer, but I have to be astute enough to know, because people who think they're the smartest one in the room is really usually a fool. Okay?
That part.
And so certainly I have so much respect for young people such as you that are working their way up. I always say that if I had been your age when I first became political, and I'm saying this and I mean this, I would have been Kamala. and I would have won. I think she won too. But seriously, I mean, I have so much respect because you can get around to spaces that people my age can't. And you can impact things from the beginning. And so I just want you to know how much respect I have for young people. And I'm not running.
I'm just going to ask you, you said you can get in spaces for people. 35-year-olds can get many places.
Okay, you're right. You're right. And when you see that 35-year-old, you let her know. But anyway,
But both of you made
I
great
do have
points.
a young heart. Young heart.
Yes, but you both made great points because Quentin, you said something, meeting young people where they're at. Right now, we're in a time where the young people are not being met where they're at. We're being talked at, but we're not being told or even embraced as far as politics are concerned. When I look at myself and I say, hey, Grace, let me get my friends to vote. Funny story. It didn't start off in a room like this. It didn't start off at a networking event. It didn't start off at anything you would really expect. It started off with my cousin saying, hey, I want you to watch the debate. And I said, what, a debate? Please, that's boring. That is not my type of hype. If it ain't the Real Housewives of Atlanta, if it ain't some trashy TV, I don't want to see it. And she was like, no. I really need you to watch this. And I was like, nah. She's like, okay, I'll give you $20. I said, okay, let's watch it. And some popcorn. She sat me down in front of the TV. And I remember I was like, this is about to be so boring. She turned on that TV. That was the best trash TV I had watched in my entire life.
Yeah.
They was talking so much smack. I didn't understand how this was on TV. I was like, this is happening for real? Like, this is real. This isn't on TV. This can't be. I was like, he just talked bad to her. He's clowning. They clowning. And I was getting my popcorn, and she looked at me with so much admiration. She was like, are you hooked now? I said, when's the next one?
Yeah.
Who's the next person? In that moment, she met me where I was. A lot of us have a tendency to go tell us what to do, tell us to vote, tell us why we should, tell us about the things, but we don't understand it. She brought me where I was at, and then I was like, okay, well, now that I understand this, where's the next trash talk gonna be at? I wanna be there for it. And so I got more involved into it, but then it was people like Dr. Shabazz who then put me under her wing because I was giving up. Because I'd had so many people talk down to me. So many people didn't want to hear the ideas. And I'm telling you now, there's an event that's going to happen that a particular group is going to do, and they are reaching the young people. They're meeting them where they're at. They're going to the trending spots and saying, you know what, this is where we need to go register the young people at. We need to go to these clubs and sit out in front and say, baby, come over here and register. It ain't nothing but 5 seconds. And then we're going to do it. It takes nothing. It's getting with the Steve Rogers. It's getting with Ali Sadiqs. It's getting with all of these political people, non-political people who don't mind registering somebody, don't mind you utilizing their space, don't mind being part of the big picture. They don't want to be associated with a particular person, but they don't mind helping out. But it's giving them those dollars and helping them out. It's having the friends of Beyonce and Kelly Rowland, Bun B, all of them coming together and saying, hey, can you do me a favor? But we all have to be a part of this and not just say, you know what, no, well, we're gonna do it the same old, same way, because what is it getting us? We're going to have another forum. We're going to have another networking event. But I'm now going to open this up, and I feel like my treasurer, he had a statement, because I had to get off my little soapbox.
No, I just wanted to say, I think that, to your point, definitely we have to learn to not talk at each other, but I think it's not just those that are not young. Everybody plays a role in this, even the youth, even the young adults. I believe that there's such an adversarial relationship that it appears that is happening right now. So what you or maybe some younger people may feel is a talking down to is just trying to help individuals understand how important this is. And so I think it's communication, where we have to communicate with one another. How do I reach you? And so you say, go with influencers or go with this person or that person. Registration as a voter is one aspect of it, but it's also education and it's also mobilization. And so we have to learn how to break down the barriers so that we can have a dialogue with one another to better understand one another, because there are some things that many that have come before me that can teach me, and those that are maybe slightly 10, 15, 20 years older than me can teach me. And there's some things that younger people can teach me, but we have to have a dialogue with one another. And what I found is that in my journey is that there's a lot of adversarial approaches to this life. And I'm saying we give so much for less for other things, but when it comes to our right to vote, something that our ancestors bled and died for, that fought, bled and died for. And I know that a lot of young people don't want to hear that, but these are realities. These people sacrifice so much for us to have even the right to vote. So we have to learn how to communicate and engage with one another, because my frustration is, okay, I'm out here hustling. I'm a great candidate. I'm the right person to lead and serve, and I want to do that. I want to dialogue, but you can't just have a wall up and be like, I know everything, or I got the right answers, and I can't have that approach either. So we have to learn how to communicate and dialogue with one another to make an impact and difference.
I just really quick want to add this. What I would like to impart upon the younger, or the generation, or just the generation across the board, is democracy is slow. And more as we move into this next millennium with AI and technology, we are fed a lot of information, and our expectations are that things can happen quickly. Our democracy has not caught up. It does not work the same way. And I think it's important, as people who are seeking to be elected, or people who are in elected office, that we set the right expectation with constituents, with residents, and younger people, and say, look, these things are vital. They are important. We do value you. We want your input. However, the expectation is, if you want this park or this green space, it may not happen when you want it to happen. But rest assured, it's a priority. We're working on it. And here's the things that we're doing to make sure that we stay on pace. It's really setting the right expectation so that they don't feel disenchanted and then drop out of the system and feel like their vote doesn't matter or it doesn't count because this person that I voted for didn't deliver. And it's not that they didn't deliver, it's they didn't deliver on time. And that's really about setting the right expectation.
I think you also have to make it relevant to young people.
There we go. So
and one of the things that is relevant to a young person is, how much is my paycheck going to be? Okay? That part, right? So you need people in there that are going to fight to make sure that your minimum wage is something you can live with and live on. And that's one of the ways that you pull people in. Let them know that, hey, that's what I'm going to fight for you. Or whatever, helping them to not be evicted, giving them resources and things.
The free resources
to help
that are out
them
there.
to be able to maintain. Because it's tough out there, especially with this economy right now. So we have to make it relevant. And I'm done. I'm the MC. I'm not supposed to be here.
I want to jump in here. I want to jump.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're good. Can I jump in?
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, sorry.
Speaking of relevancy and impact and getting their attention, what you talked about, this past Sunday at my church, and I've been planning this for a while, I created not just this past Sunday, but recently created a service learning project for them. Y'all, these high schoolers are going to be 18 in a minute. Or they're already 18. So I asked the high schoolers to meet with me. I talked to youth pastor, asked them to meet with me. And I did a civics lesson during youth church for them. And that was phase 1 of my service learning. Phase 2 is next Saturday, where they're going to help me canvas and put door hangers on doors while I'm using a Canvas app and a map. But one thing I did was I talked to them. I didn't just lecture them. I engaged them and asked them, what did they think about it? What did they know about it? My partner who was presenting said, have you ever been run for an election? Have you ever voted for anything? And they had student council and they had presidency. And she asked them why. We asked them why did they vote and what did they want? And they talked about, one young lady said, I want softer toilet tissue at school. So, so they talk about things that impact them. You said meeting them where they were. So they're at church. I met them where they were. And then I talked about engagement and parades. And then at the end of the day, I threw out candy. When you go to parades, what do? You're throwing out candy. And that must have been, hopefully they'll remember
They will.
me.
They will. And so I'm glad everybody has given their remarks, but I still have that same thing about communication and communicating with us. Because at the end of the day, making something relevant, talking about our paycheck, making something relevant, talking about what we're going to be doing, what we want to do with our lives, all those relevancies help out for a person that is young, middle-aged, even younger than that. But the conversation is still going to have to be had, but the question is, what are we doing? Because even to your point, Quentin, yes, we understand that there's not instant gratification going to happen, but we don't understand how the government even works. The education system is not the same as it was when everybody at the table learned about government. Right. I remember I learned more about a bill from a cartoon called Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
I remembered the bill. But then when you go back to right now, they don't have that. So when you say educating the youth, the younger people, the middle-aged, all of us, we need things that are a little bit easier to digest and just get to the point and tell us why. Because when you tell me, hey, you over the money of contracts, I swear, Mr. Treasurer, that's all I heard. I said, he's over the money of the contracts. I'm going to get my friends to vote for him, so if they get a contract, they're going to make sure he's going to make sure they get their money. When you talk to Mr. Quinton, and I have a neighborhood full of multiracial people, you are correct. But I know that, hey, he's going to make sure that the whole of Pearland is for everybody. When I think about my mud person over in Clear Brook, I now know that you're a woman of the people, and that anything that's dealing with my water, wastewater, trash, utilities, you got me. Fire, police, you got me. So I've taken little key points from this, but I'm going back to there's not just me out there. I'm not speaking for the people who care. I'm speaking for the people who are like, do, I love to shop. So at this point, I'm going to open it up to some questions out there, and I feel like I have, don't hide behind her. Yep, we got some questions.
Did you want to go first? Okay.
We did have a question?
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
Okay.
For you? Yeah?
So to begin with, I do want to say thank you for your civic duty and service in the community. But in hearing all of this, and as it relates to the messaging, in your own opinion, in your own words, how would you message more of early voting a rule, not an exception?
Anybody?
So
Will you repeat that again?
No. Go ahead.
he said, yeah. Well, I think what he said was it's about messaging and how would we message early voting as a priority, as a rule, and not the exception, not waiting. In many cases, I would tell you, especially in Houston or surrounding areas, Houston, Fort Bend, Harris County, Galveston County, voting is accessible. I live in Pearland, majorities in Brazoria County. Brazoria County runs our elections. And so everyone moving from these areas are used to, in most cases, adequate access to those locations. In Pearland, for this election, some can say it got voted on after I decided to run, but our early voting hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the suburbs, when 70,000 plus people drive from Pearland to go to work. And I don't know about y'all, but today, I saw that traffic on 288, bumper to bumper, 5 o'clock, hour and a half, easy to get home. So when you ask about making it a priority and not the exception, I hear you, but the people in office don't respect that. It makes it extremely difficult to try to impart that kind of knowledge and wisdom on people when today we see a new version of Jim Crow. It's not the same. It's, as they say, it's 2.0, and it's difficult, even for people who've been in the game. So how am I, as an adult, 45 years old, who's trying to make a difference and represent the community when the people in charge are making it hard on everybody, no matter your age, to go to the polls? Early voting is important, but it's important for everyone, even the people who make the decisions.
You know, early voting is critical. It's an opportunity. it's a blessing. I mean, when you think about the fact that there used to be no early voting, we have been given this opportunity to early vote. And I applaud Quentin for his fight to try to get this expanded to 7 p.m. And I watched that council meeting where they voted it down. But these are people that are elected to office that made the decision, right? So again, I emphasize how important it is that people that are working people that want to exercise their right to vote probably will not get the opportunity, many of them will not get the opportunity to do it early because the polls close at 5 p.m. Standard hours are typically from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So I agree with him. I believe this was intentional. And considering the fact that I supported Quentin when he ran for mayor the first time, and I think you only fell short by what?
So about 300 votes. And back then,
Wow.
when we went into the runoff, they closed the voting location altogether and moved it to the police station.
Oh, wow.
So as it relates to early voting, I always push early voting. I push voting. Let me just start there. I push voting, but early voting, I mean, how much more do we want? How much more do we need? We've been given, in most cases, 2 whole weeks to vote early, in most cases. 2 weeks, Monday through Sunday.
Not in Pearland.
Well, for the most part. And then in Fort Bend County and in Harris County, I don't know about Brazoria County, you can vote anywhere in the county. Anywhere. So if you at your job and your job is way on the other side of the county, and you're like, you know, I'm gonna just, before I go into work, I'm gonna go and cast my vote. Or on my way home, I'm gonna stop here and cast my vote. You can do that anywhere in the county. And your failure to do that says more about you than it does about elected officials and us pushing early voting. Most people know early voting exists. And I spend the money, I spend the time, I do the videos, I do the mailers, I do the block walking, the lit dropping, I do the text messaging, the robocalls. I do everything that I can do to registered voters. Again, going back to registered voters. But you're a registered voter in Harris County, Brazoria County, Fort Bend County, Barrett County, Dallas County, wherever you are, and you saw what happened up there in Jasmine Crockett's district. On the day, election day, because people didn't understand they needed to go to their actual assigned precinct, they were turned away after spending hours in line at the polls. That's why early voting is so important, because you don't have to go to a designated precinct. You can go anywhere in the county, so do it.
So I'm hearing you say we need to mobilize, get on this good social media, tell our grandkids, our aunties and uncles, and our sisters and brothers to get out here and tell them early voting is what days?
April 20th.
April 20th for me.
April 20th.
To the
And we
28th.
need to, what day?
April 20th through the 28th. Election day is May 2nd.
Correct.
Is
Yes.
that the same
So-
thing for you?
No, I'm gonna wait till they finish. I want them, their
So all my
their election
D9
is
We have
first.
the
I
same.
wanted to say something about the early voting. I don't know if Karen wants to say something.
Yes, I wanted
Because
to
I got
say.
a one answer, one word answer. Go ahead.
So I have an app, like I said, the world is y'all know, we working off of apps. And my app, my Canvas app actually shows me the registered, and it wasn't free, the registered voters, that people who are likely to vote because they voted in the primary, Democratic in the primary. So those are the lit drops and calls and door knocks I'm going to. And my message is to please early vote so that we can, you say why, so that we can see what the early voting netted so I can target for the next 10 days what are the homes and messages that I have to reach.
I have a one word answer. It's called life.
Yes.
Because
Life
life
gets
happens.
Oh, yeah.
And you plan to vote on election day,
Yeah.
your car broke down.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You got sick. You went to the hospital.
Yeah.
So many things come up.
Yeah.
So why not do it when you have an opportunity to do it
Yeah.
when you're alive and well and walking?
Yeah.
So that's why I think early voting is important.
Yeah.
And I wanted to close out because I really didn't give them their introductions. I gave him his.
Well, thank you.
But before you go ahead, and then I want to close
We
out and just kind
have
of
one
read
more question. We don't want to leave that question behind, and then you will have the whole floor.
Hey, Dot.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I
Speak
work
up.
with early voting, and this weekend, Divine and I had the opportunity to go to a part of Houston we had never seen. It was in Sunnyside, and what's the name of the street? I can't think of the name, but anyway, it was the Crystal Spring Zelensky, and the guy said, you know, it was drug infested, and we're talking about Crystal Spring apartments, and we did a healthcare fair for the first time, at-risk healthcare fair. Could be HIV, could be venereal diseases, could be hepatitis C, and for the first time, dealing with the city or the county, they had 70 people came out. They had never had 70 people came out, so I was trying to figure out what was going on. On the other end, we had 135 people to register to vote. And so we don't want to criticize anybody. We just asked them, you know, here you 40 and 50 and 60 and 70 and 18, and they never voted. And I said, well, what's going on? What's really going on with the family? We have to do a family check. We have to find out where these people come. I know some people are homeless because of death, abandonment, or neglect. But the majority of people are not homeless. And why they are not being fed in the home about what's going on.
Yes.
If, like, you were in Clearbrook, 11% African American, 20%
You know that.
Asian,
Yes.
40% Spanish, 20% white, I guess. I might be
Around
off.
that, yes.
So when you're looking at those people, this is the whole conglomerate. How are you going to connect with them? What do you have to bring to the table to say, look, we can work this out, we can work together? What do we need as a team to bring for the first time women on the Mud District Board? So, you know, we can't have jealousy. We can't worry about, you know, our shoes or how our hair look. We have to have one thing in common, is that we have the love to see victory in that community with all people. Just one word. Love. We coming together because of love. We care for one another. We are human beings. We are not, you know, some freaky animal or whatever. We all hurt. We all get sick. We all lose jobs. What can bring us together? To make us feel like we are family, you know, where we can come together. Now in Pearland, he talked about the diversity, and yes, of course, but we all are diversified. In that apartment complex, I saw Indians, I saw Hispanics, I saw Africans, because these are people who have either their homes have burned or they somehow they came to Houston and they didn't have a place, and they gave them a place to live. But one thing that caught my attention, that they were surprised, they didn't know they needed to vote. They needed to ask for welfare. They needed to ask for a place to stay. But why do we need to vote? What is it about voting? And then about health issues. When they found out that we were concerned about their welfare, their health, they got in and they helped work around that facility. That facility we was at, they didn't have streets like normal people. She was in our Mercedes and she said, oh, look, we were going in and out, a big hose. But those people, and I have to say those people, they were willing to work. We made them feel welcome. They cleaned up, they helped us clean up, and guess what? Before we left, we had 135 registered voters. Now, the county did call me on Monday and said they called the county and asked them, told them, Mr. McDonald said, we need to vote. But it wasn't our time, you know. Our time, Barkins had ran in January, and they saw a sheet of paper. I said, that's over with. So the next thing you have to deal with is May. So a lot of things come with communication, being informed. And you know what?
Informed.
I found out people who hang around each other, they do the same thing. They get advice from each other. And guess what? They don't always have the good advice. They give each other the wrong advice because somebody gave the wrong advice to them. So you have to.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that's what the leaders, are you coming to the table, you said, look, we in this fight together. We are fighting for our community, our town, our nation. We are not going to let it go down without a fight.
Right.
All right.
And that's what we've done,
All right.
partnership.
And
The word
I
is
want to close
partnership.
it out really
Yeah.
quickly and then pass it back over. But I just want to say Karen Richard McMillan is a native Houstonian, Christian, and devoted wife who brings a thoughtful, community-centered perspective to public service. She is the owner and writer behind Literally Speaking, where her background in journalism, earned with a Bachelor of Science from the University of Houston, shapes her voice and advocacy. Karen also serves on the board of directors for the Southeast Inspirational Choir, reflecting her commitment to faith and the arts. A passionate traveler with a broad world view, she is now a candidate for the MUD position 4 director in Pearland, in Clearbrook. They got this wrong. In Clearbrook, and she's seeking to serve her community with integrity, insight, and purpose. And your early voting is April the 20th through the 28th, and your election day is May the 2nd.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you.
Okay, let me get to Jeffrey Boney. Jeffrey Boney is a businessman, a media professional, and a former Missouri City Council member. Known for his work in business development and community leadership, he is currently a candidate for Fort Bend County Treasurer. And your election?
My runoff election, I did come out as the top vote getter in the March 3rd primary, but there were 5 people in the race, so it forced me into a runoff. So my election, May 18th through the 22nd is early voting, and then May 26th is my runoff election. And I'm asking everybody to, if you're in Fort Bend or know somebody in Fort Bend, to get folks out to the polls to vote. Again, ain't nothing phony
About
Jeffrey L.
Not
Boney.
at all. And of course, I did read the introduction for Quentin Wilkes, but I again want him to share. He is running for mayor of Pearland, and I want him to share your information about your early voting and your election day.
As I mentioned, thank you, Dr. Shabazz. Early voting, April 20th to the 28th. It is going to be extremely important because Pearland spans 3 counties: Fort Bend, Brazoria, and Harris. And like you mentioned, people who live in Fort Bend, they cannot vote in Fort Bend for the election. They must vote in Brazoria County locations. They have to come to Pearland, Brazoria County locations. Exactly. If you're in Harris County and you live in the Pearland city limits, you cannot vote in Harris County for the mayor or city council. You must come to Brazoria County to cast your ballot. You will be turned away. And as you can, I see your faces. People in those areas, because they try to do it the other way around, they get told, you can't vote here in certain elections. So then when it comes time for municipal elections, they tell us, when we're literally in their face with the paper in front of them, I can't vote for you. And I'm telling them they can. And so not only is it, this is what I can do for you, it is, this is what I can do for you if you allow me to vote for you when you go and vote. It's totally different out here in Pearland. But the early voting is April 20th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I've been told, keep your head up, stay prayed up, because people will vote for the things and do the things and make the things a priority that they want to make a priority. And this is a priority. And I'm asking people to do that. Election day is May 2nd. We talk about all these access to early voting. Monday, you can vote 8 to 5. Tuesday is San Jacinto Day. It's a holiday, so it's closed.
Exactly.
Wednesday, you can vote. Thursday, you can vote. Friday, you can vote. Saturday, 8 to 5. Sunday, closed.
Exactly.
Monday, 8 to 5. Tuesday, 8 to 5. And then it's closed. And then the only extended hours is May 2nd, which is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
There's a place you can go vote at right behind Walmart. It's one of the small places. Just letting y'all know, it's right off 518. When you're coming in, you just exit the 518 and you just go down the county road. I don't know what county road that is, but it's behind Walmart. It's the easiest one to get to.
Actually, that's on election day. Early voting is the library.
Oh, it's the library on the other side. It's still on 518.
2234.
That's the education
This
piece.
has been Trending Tuesday.
Yeah.
I hope you have
I just
really-
want to, can I say this one thing?
sure.
Tomorrow, I'm going to be block walking with this guy. We're going to get this guy elected as the mayor of Pearland, y'all.
It's time.
And I'm going to be out there knocking on doors and asking people to come out to vote for Quentin Wills. We're going to hit the streets tomorrow, and we're ready to go. And then, of course, we're going to ask for them to come out after
And I'm gonna
me.
get
But
some
he's the
I'm
most
gonna get
important
some
right
flyers and I'm gonna put them on my Facebook.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got Chef Eddie over here.
Oh,
We
man.
do.
I heard
That's
that bell.
That's the good part over there.
yeah,
I
what-
never told you my dad's name is Edward.
We started a little late, and I know for those that are here, we really appreciate y'all hanging in there. We're gonna let Chef Eddie talk about his menu, but first, I want to thank Grace for doing what she's doing. We know that this group is important, but I'm gonna tell you, I have a charge for her. So you asked all those questions, but now, Grace, we know you work with the Houston Urban League. We know you work with NAACP. So we're going to challenge you. So, with these, we ask them the questions, they answer them. We're going to say, let's pass the word and let's help these folk that are coming out, giving up their time to win. Let's the people and let them know we got a little time. So what we do is we go eat a little bit and have a little drink, and then she can tell you and connect and do what she can do to assist and bring those young people out. Since you're willing to answer the question, she's going to do her best to help. And then for those people in the audience, I was listening at you're great with respect to helping people to vote and register and all of that. I'm going to charge everybody in this room with reaching out to these people and helping them get there. We're here. You guys are my I won't say my favorites, but you are I want to say my regulars. You're Trending Tuesday-ers, and we mean business up in here. The folk that come out here on a Tuesday night, hang out with us, they're serious, and they will help. So what you want to do is ask them, what can I do to help you? That's what I want the audience to do, and the audience listening online, because we're going to run this stuff, guys, what do you call it? I'm going to pay for it so that it runs and it hits all those marks and things like that, so that we can pump up the word and get it out there. That's why we asked you to come, and I'm asking everybody in the audience to do the very same. Okay, we appreciate you for having been here and staying a little bit later. I want Chef Eddie to walk us through what his nutritious meal is. So you can grab a little something, so you won't have to go home and cook. You can eat and go home and just go to bed and get your sleep.
You ready?
So, right, for tomorrow. Okay.
You gotta go to the factory.
All right, guys, thanks for coming one more time at Trending Tuesdays. What's up, Karen? Good to see you, church member. JB in the house. Dr. Shabazz, always welcome. And Brother Quentin, you have at least 2 votes. We're going to work on the rest of our street, all up in the gated side, so we're going to put some more signs out for you. Always good to support you. So anyway, you guys, this is a simply seasonal menu concoction that I prepared for you guys, starting with wild Alaskan salmon with, you have some sauteed zucchini, and we have some sauteed spinach. And a favorite dish of mine that comes about 3 or 4 times a year is mushrooms, just sauteed with milk, butter and kind of good stuff. You'll see. So come on in, enjoy yourself. Got some infused water, lemon water, and some other good stuff over there when you come. And of course, the wine is one of my favorites. This particular selection is Decoy from Alexandria Valley. Enjoy. Enjoy.
What we said we're not going to forget. Please hit your like and subscribe so we can get our numbers up. And then please, if you like the food, tip the chef. There's a little joy there because we don't charge you, but Okay, thanks. You gonna close?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close for all my young people. We like to eat, and that food sounds delicious. So I charge y'all to come up here, come be a part of the audience, come answer these questions, come learn more about politics in a friendly environment, and eat some good food. Free food.
Thank you.
Little tip.
All right.
Like and subscribe.
We're out.
Yeah. And I meant to do a shout out. My husband